What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at our top 5 most undervalued tight ends for the 2021 fantasy football season. And as we conclude this positional series, today we're identifying the tight ends that, per quote unquote consensus rankings, are ranked way too low and in reality have a great chance of bettering their expectations, beating projections, and finishing a lot higher than they might currently be ranked. So make sure to check it out. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe. Let us hear it in the comment section, whether you agree, disagree, and what other tight ends you would have on this list. And lastly, check us out online at alldaypigskin.com and get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Everything you could want at a great value, from top 150 overall player rankings in standard and PPR formats to individual player bios, tiers, projections, and general fantasy advice. All the details in the description. But with that being said, let's get right into it. And as you can see, we have got our list of ADPs pulled up here for the tight end position across several different platforms. So we will start off right away with our number one guy in T.J. Hockenson of the Detroit Lions. And I do want to make a note that this is PPR based. And with Hockenson, we have made no secret about it that we love everything when it comes to his upside for 2021. In fact, we've gone as far as calling him the Darren Waller of 2021 in terms of him potentially breaking into the tier 1 category of tight ends. Because right now you've got Travis Kelce, you've got Darren Waller, potentially 1 and 2, then probably George Kittle. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if George Kittle finishes behind TJ Hockenson this 2021 season. But let's go more into why I believe Hockenson is extremely undervalued right now. Because first and foremost, he comes in at number 6 on this list, which to me is absolutely insane. There's no way in PPR scoring he should be behind Mark Andrews, and he shouldn't be behind Kyle Pitts. I get it, the hype is unreal for the rookie tight end in Atlanta, but rookie tight ends, even look at TJ Hockenson himself, they don't have a history of just flat out dominating. I think the situation for Hockenson is much better. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if he finishes ahead of George Kittle, finishing in that top 3 of tight ends. And other reasons for optimism, first and foremost, look, the Detroit Lions, they didn't really add any big time wide receivers in free agency or during the draft, which means that TJ Hockenson, by all intents and purposes, is the primary pass catcher on that team. And yes, people will say, well, Matthew Stafford is gone, so that means this offense will be absolutely awful with Jared Goff under center. I would not agree with that at all because, look, we've seen Jared Goff, even though he has his issues, he's been able to support Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp as big-time fantasy assets, and there's no reason why he can't do the same for TJ Hockenson, who's pretty much contending with just second-year guys, journeymen. Obviously, no more Marvin Jones, no more Kenny Golladay. And reports coming out of Detroit themselves have said there's a very real possibility Hockenson will lead this team in terms of targets, receptions, and yards. That's kind of what we are envisioning. We think he has got tremendous upside. And right now, he's going anywhere between probably the 4th to 6th round in drafts, where there is a wide range. But come August and September, we do believe that it'll be much closer to the 4th round than, the 5th and 6th. So we would advise getting him now while you still can, because the upside truly is a tier 1 elite player that you can get in the 5th or 6th round at a position that is an absolute wasteland every single year. So for that reason, TJ Hockenson is a guy that we will be targeting literally everywhere. But continue on to our number 2 guy here. We scroll down just one spot lower to Dallas Goedert at number 7. And the reasoning with Dallas Goedert being is that we see him as the new number 1 tight end on this team. Yes, Zach Ertz is still technically there for the Philadelphia Eagles, but considering the rumors of him being cut, him being traded, we wouldn't be shocked at all to have Dallas Goedert be the primary tight end come August or September. But honestly, even if he isn't, we saw it last season that he kind of overtook Zach Ertz to begin with. Yes, his volume will be lower if Ertz is there, but we think the baton has kind of been passed, if you will, when it comes to the next big tight end on the team. And many people might be a little bit, scared off by the fact that it's now Jalen Hurts under quarterback, which we absolutely understand. He's much more a rushing quarterback than a throwing quarterback. But Dallas Goedert, being that safety blanket for a tight end, whoever it is, that's going to be very useful for this offense and for a Jalen Hurts that's still learning and still trying to become a better passer of the football. We think there's going to be a lot of volume. He's going to see a lot of opportunities on the field, and that'll probably translate to a lot of success. Right now, he kind of falls in that tier 2 category, maybe probably tier 3 of tight ends, and that probably is right around the 6th, 7th, 8th round in terms of where his current average draft position is. Here you see some places have him ranked as low as the 9th, 10th, 8th overall best tight end on their respective platform. We think he's probably, again, right in that 6 to 7 range, probably even 5th overall, but we would have him ranked higher than a Mark Andrews, arguably ranked higher than a Kyle Pitts. Right now, more than anything, it's all about the value. It won't cost you all that much if you can get him in the 6th, 7th, 8th round. For that reason, we endorse Dallas Goedert. But just keep in mind that if between now, August, and September, Zach Ertz is traded or let go, his ADP will likely skyrocket. So makes sense to try and get some Dallas Goedert stock early now while you still can. But scrolling down to our number 3 tight end on this list, we have got Jared Cook of the LA Chargers, and I absolutely love Jared Cook's upside as far as a dart throw tight end that you just take a chance on if you've ignored the tight end position throughout the majority of the first rounds. You see him come in here at number 19. A couple of days ago, as far as a week ago, he was lower on these rankings. I think he's someone that slowly, very slowly, people are coming around to and realizing, oh yeah, Hunter Henry is gone for the LA Chargers. And this is an offense with Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, that's going to be extremely explosive. And last season, after Allen and Eckler, the next best receiving option was Hunter Henry. And that equated to a borderline top 10 finish for him, a little bit higher in PPR scoring. And Jared Cook has had history of good campaigns, successful outings, successful fantasy seasons. And now he's in a great situation with the LA Chargers. We're not talking about long-term success. This is all about 2021. Because now he's essentially the Hunter Henry for one season, and that brings a lot of value. Now, don't make any mistakes about it. It's not going to be elite production, but as far as floor goes, it's going to be a safe floor of probably between 8 to 9 points every single week in PPR scoring, and he'll have a couple of 15, probably 20-point games as well. Not as many, but again, for all intents and purposes, this is going to be Hunter Henry 2.0 for 2021. Platforms have him ranked as low as the, mid-20s, which I think is absolutely insane. I love drafting him as a backup tight end, or even, I feel strongly about having him as a starter. In our rankings, I have him inside the top 15, closer to the top 10 than I do the top 15. So I'm all in on Jared Cook. It won't cost you a damn thing. He could very well go undrafted. I'm not worried about what we saw from him last season in New Orleans. Too much instability, too many, just inconsistencies on that offense. He was nicked up here and there. So for that reason, I think Cook will have a tremendous bounce back season in 2021 and is absolutely being slept on. Moving on to our number 4 guy, he comes in at number 24, Adam Troutman of the New Orleans Saints. And as oftentimes it occurs, when one tight end leaves, another guy is elevated. In this case, Jared Cook leaves the Saints. Adam Troutman will have tremendous opportunities. Now, I should note, definitely don't feel as confident in Troutman as I do in Jared Cook to actually be successful. These last two inclusions will more so be dart throws that are dark horses, sleepers, if you will, that have breakout potential. But Troutman fits the bill. Now, we will say if Jameis Winston doesn't win the starting job, that we don't feel quite as confident about Troutman, because Taysom Hill there, it's pretty much going to be Michael Thomas as the guy that you can rely on to not suffer as much of a hit in terms of production. I don't think that, even Alvin Kamara or Adam Troutman or any of the other pass catchers we can confidently say that about. So this is a little bit dependent on Jameis Winston winning out that quarterback competition, because that means there's going to be a lot more passing, a lot more opportunities, and offensively, that means a higher, chance of success for Troutman getting in the end zone, more yards, etc., etc. And he was a guy that was getting a lot of opportunities as a blocker last season, kind of just working his way up behind Jared Cook. And now, other than Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, there really isn't a reliable pass catcher on this offense. We've seen the tight end position succeed in New Orleans. Yes, it was with Drew Brees, but it was still, with Sean Payton as the signal caller, as the head coach on that offense, which utilizes all their weapons. And Troutman is definitely that, a potential X factor. Again, similar to a Jared Cook, but not as much. He's an unproven commodity. He's going to be going in the final rounds, if at all. In typical leagues, he's going undrafted, I would say almost 100%. So right now, I would say his upside is probably right outside the top 15, so much higher than what's listed right now as 24th overall. And then finally, coming in here at number 26 per these average draft positions, we have got Anthony Firkser of the Tennessee Titans. Now, we will say he's probably someone that was a lot higher prior to the Julio Jones trade to Tennessee, because there was an expected large volume headed his way. But to some extent, Julio Jones being there, A.J. Brown being there, they're going to demand the best defensive efforts from opposing secondaries. That's going to leave some guys open. Derrick Henry, not exactly a pass catcher. And Anthony Firkser, no more Jonnu Smith, let's not forget that, who was very successful last season. Firkser is that next guy up. And a lot of people think, he's going to have the opportunities. Prior to the Julio Jones trade, he was one of the most popular breakout candidates. And I don't think just because Julio Jones is there, that should necessarily bury Firkser. If you were high on his, talent, then you should be equally as high on it right now with Julio Jones being there. And probably even more so because he'll have easier opportunities to convert, catches, touchdowns, etc., etc. So with that being the case, we would absolutely take, again, a late flyer on Firkser, similar to an Adam Troutman. In fact, we think that Firkser probably should be ranked ahead of Troutman because, he's on an offense with a quarterback that we kind of know what to expect from. And defensively, who do you guard? A.J. Brown, Julio Jones. That's going to leave a lot of guys open. We've seen it with other teams before. Other positions kind of just break out when you have two alphas with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. And we do believe Anthony Firkser could be that lucky beneficiary. So with that being said, we wrap up this breakdown of our top 5 most undervalued tight ends for this 2021 season. And as always, let us hear it in the comment section. Did you agree? Disagree? Do you have any other questions? We will do our best to answer them. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, and again, get yourself a copy of the 2021 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide, now available for purchase. All the details in the description. But in the meantime, we will see you guys in future videos.